Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for uh, watching this video, and in this segment I wish to make a comment on the topic of who are the possible politician influencers to the Guru Balik China issue. Now recently we have sadly heard about the issue of a Malay school teacher in Perak, if I'm not mistaken, who was teaching her students, and then when she got angry with one of her Chinese students, she had uttered the word "pergi balik China." She had also said that these students who cannot or hardly speak Bahasa Malaysia should sit next to the tong sampah. Now, of course, as an educator and as a Malaysian, such thing is a very sad thing to occur, but it is not the first time. I remember an issue of a head teacher, if I'm not mistaken, several years ago, again telling the same thing about Balik China. There is a prevalent attitude apparently among many Malays, unfortunately including teachers, who are of the opinion that the Chinese are pendatang, and therefore they are loyal or always looking towards their heritage land, which is China. For me, this is very strange because after 70 years, many of these Chinese have been born here and have gone to school and have worked and have died even. And yet there is still this prevalent attitude. Now, although the Ministry of Education is taking action by investigating and maybe perhaps a disciplinary action, I would like to deal not about why she had said so, but what could be the political influence that has made such a teacher seem to think that it is okay to say such things like Balik India or Balik China. Now, the first politician that comes to mind is, of course, I have already talked about many times in my video, which is Dr. Mahathir. We have all frequently hear or heard him always saying that the Chinese and the Indians are not as loyal as other people like the Malays, because they are having their vernacular schools and they prefer their culture and they prefer their language to that of Bahasa Malaysia. Now, this pendatang narrative has always been said by Dr. Mahathir, and I think this has given this prevalent attitude among the new generation or the young generation or the middle-aged generation that has gone through Dr. Mahathir's dual era of prime ministership, to actually think that it is not a big deal to utter such insults. For me, Dr. Mahathir is a very big influence, not only to this teacher, but to a lot of people that I know, including professors in academia, who also have this kind of attitude. Next, we see politicians such as Dr. Mastura, a young politician who has a PhD. But she had clearly made a wrongful accusation that Lim Kit Siang is related to Chin Peng, who is supposed to be or who is known to be the head of the Communist Party in Malaya, and of course directly related to China. Now, even when the court decided that she was in the wrong and she had to pay 850,000 ringgit, which was collected by her party pass, she still maintains that she is not wrong. and she will be making an appeal in court, of which we still do not know what the news is about this appeal. The money is given to the lawyers to hold until the appeal process, as far as I understand. So this is again another narrative by a young politician inheriting from Dr. Mahathir, creating the sense that some of our citizens, especially the Chinese, are disloyal, and not just disloyal, but also someone who believes in communism, which to many Muslims who do not know any better, that communism equals to people who do not believe in God, when in fact communism came out as an ideology of resource management and ordering society into having an equal sustenance for everyone, regardless of upbringing. Now, this is a disturbing trend when you have a young politician like her following the path of Dr. Mahathir. Then we also have again another politician from Parti Islam Malaysia, which is Razman from Perak, chief of the Perak Pass, I think. He had uttered the words of only people with eyes like us and blood like us is loyal to the country. He is insinuating that eyes like us, which is different than the Chinese eyes, and also blood, which is a very funny thing, it not necessarily have to be different, but he was talking politically, blood that is born in this country. Again, that is also not correct. He was referring to the incident of some Chinese waving the China flag. Again, China coming into the narrative. And so we see here a pattern. A elderly man, or maybe above middle-aged man like Razman, and a young politician like Dr. Mastura, agreeing to a narrative that our friends who are Chinese are simply disloyal to this nation. I'm sure many of you have Chinese friends like myself, and I find them to be upstanding, loyal citizens, of which I can call them my friends, and I don't have that many friends. Even among the Malays, I have very, very few. I think I have more non-Malay friends than I do have Malays. I have also attended a luncheon that I have made a video of Makwa, which is the Malaysian armed forces who are Chinese veterans. And they are there at the hotel, numbering about 300 of them, women and men, who serve in the army, in the air force, and in the navy. I felt very small when I was there, even though they honored me with taking a lot of photographs and praising my writing and my videos. But I felt very small because these people actually fought in the war against the communists, of which they had documented in 2 books called Memorial. If you were to look at the website Makva, M-A-C-V-A, you can find these books that you can actually buy. And in them I saw stories and photographs of those people who are not Malays, but together with Malays and other races. They were fighting for our country. I do not think that Dr. Mahathir, Dr. Mastura, or Razman, the 3 of them, have ever held a gun or have ever spent time in the jungle like many of these Chinese people. And so for the teacher to actually say such thing, I'm not sure, I don't think she meant it as an insult, because she said she's already said it many times. So that means it seems to be a kind of an accepting thing among the Malays, and especially the teachers. I think it is high time that the Ministry of Education admit that teachers form the bulk of a racist mindset. During the Reformasi, before Anwar came to power, even I myself, in my family, from my wife's side, have a lot of teachers. And all of them were against me, and sadly against my wife, even though she has done nothing wrong. I was the political one who supported Anwar, who supported the AP, who supported Amanah, who supported also PKR. And before that, in Barisan Alternative, I was the strongest supporter of Parti Islam Malaysia until that party decided to work with UMNO before 2018. And so this kind of mindset that the non-Malays, especially the Chinese, are disloyal, or someone who are just squatting temporarily in this country, so easy for us to say such things like balik China lah. There is no China for these people. There is only Malaysia. There is only this land. Do you think that when they die, we will have to throw their bodies into the sea? No, they are either buried or cremated, and their ashes thrown, or their ashes spread over this Mother Earth here in the motherland, which is Malaysia. Of course, once upon a time, part of Malaysia, which is not Sabah and Sarawak, which is the Semenanjung Malaysia, was known as Tanah Melayu, with certain races who came who were part of this country, that came from many different parts: the Javanese island, the Bugis and Minang, and I myself, my family from Patani. That makes up what is called the Malay race, probably 200 years or 150 years. Similarly, there are many other non-Malays who are longer than that. We read about Laksmana Cheng Ho coming to Malaya, Tanah Melayu, and we read about the Princess Hang Li Po, who came, of course, with others, and there are intermarriages between these people. So let us not get carried away with this Balik China mindset. But here it's difficult because politicians who do that get to become the title tone. Politicians who do that get to become, like our friend Akmal Saleh, a Dato'. And these people are being honored simply because they carry the racist narrative. I think we should put a stop to that, but we must do so with wisdom and with adab or decorum, and not to threaten or actually use the examples of some politicians who like to threaten people. So with that, I think the phenomena of the teacher is not an isolated case at all. It is quite prevalent. And if you were to launch an investigation that is very serious, you will find hundreds of cases. And in fact, such things, as a Malay myself, I understand the idea of what Dr. Mahathir says, of what Dr. Mastura has been alleging, as well as Rasman saying, is a common occurrence among Malays, not just an isolated thing. So I think the problem is deeper than just a teacher who probably was not in her best composition and had uttered such things. But as I said, it has become a culture and something that needs to be addressed as a cultural issue and not just an isolated incident. With that, thank you. Hi everybody. If you would like to own my book and have my signature as well as a personal note from me, please follow the instruction. Thank you.